Raised within the picturesque surroundings of Naboo to a humble family, Padme Naberrie was as far removed from a Sith Lord as one could possibly be. Supremely gifted and well versed in politics, she would rise to become Queen of Naboo under the regal name of Amidala. During her stint as a queen, she would encounter the beginning of her end in the form of Anakin Skywalker. Her eventual secret marriage to the Jedi Knight would cause Anakin to fall under the influence of the secret Sith Lord Darth Sidious, whom Amidala had assisted during his guise as Sheev Palpatine. When Anakin became Darth Vader, Amidala had no intentions of going along his path, ultimately losing her will to live. But what if all along Padme was a Sith Lord? How would she handle the Clone Wars? Would Anakin still turn to the dark side? All of the answers are going to be unveiled. Stalking about her penthouse apartment, the Dark Lady of the Sith, Padme Amidala, was displeased at recent events. Having received news of Count Dooku being at the front of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, the Chancellor now wanted a Grand Army of the Republic. She knew what that was going to be. Clones made in Kamino, modelled on the bounty hunter Jango Fett. After all, she had played a role in its funding. Turning to the turbo lift, the doors opened, revealing the two Jedi of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Padme was happy to see that Anakin was still besotted by her presence. Other than Qui-Gon, the Jedi never truly understood the power of Anakin. But now Qui-Gon had fallen, he could make for a worthy apprentice. Discussing plans to make the two Jedi her protectors, she later sensed bounty hunter Zam Vessel and crushed her with the raise of her hand before she could deploy her venomous arthropods. The Jedi rush in having sensed the danger, but they are oblivious to Padme's actions. Nonetheless, the Jedi decide that it was best for Padme to leave Coruscant, heading for Naboo with Anakin, a perfect opportunity to sway him to the dark side. As Anakin expressed his consternation at his role of a Jedi for obstructing their potential relationship, Padme suggests for Anakin to leave the Jedi Order, but he is not ready. Later in their retreat, Anakin experiences visions of his mother in grave danger. Padme urges Anakin to go and act on his visions, leading them to Tatooine. Following Anakin's actions closely, Padme could sense a dark side within Anakin taking over, as he had been too late to save his mother. Anakin, now consumed by his hate for the Tusken Raiders, hardly registered Padme igniting her lightsaber. Together they dispatch of the Tusken Raiders, with Padme using a full array of Force abilities to show Anakin that the Jedi had been limiting their teachings. Returning to the last home, Anakin vowed to learn to save people from dying, allowing Padme to further reveal her Force powers. Easily swaying Anakin to bow to her teachings, she uses her secretly gathered intelligence to inform the Jedi Council of activity on Geonosis, whilst Anakin continued to serve under the Jedi. Meeting with the Jedi on Geonosis, a massive battle ensues in the Petranarchy arena, but with Padme giving the clones time to assemble themselves, Dooku is forced to escape. Anakin and Obi-Wan pursue Dooku, with Anakin still serving his role as Padme's protector. Heading into a cave, the gunship stops close to Dooku's ship, and the Jedi leap out. Anakin and Obi-Wan battle Dooku, but with Padme not having fallen out of the ship, and not in any danger, Anakin is more patient with Dooku. Obi-Wan is soon disarmed, with Dooku trapping him underneath a pillar and leaving him unconscious. This left a chance for Dooku to test out Skywalker's abilities, just as his master had wanted. But out of nowhere, he heard another lightsaber ignite. The crimson red blade of Padme illuminated the cave-like structure, and Dooku was unprepared for the Senator. Taking over from Anakin, the Dark Lady of the Sith moved at warp speed, making Dooku look amateurish and sluggish. Deciding to toy with the Sith Lord, she harnessed red Force lightning from her fingertips, sending Dooku into the wall. With renewed vigour, Dooku attempted to attack Padme, thinking that Padme used sorcery, but she used the pillar collapsing Obi-Wan and arrowed it into Dooku, ending the Sith Lord upon impact. Scooping up Dooku's hilt, she assists at stirring Obi-Wan to his feet, just as Grandmaster Yoda arrived. Giving the credit to Anakin, the Jedi Padawan continued his role of protector by travelling with Padme back to Naboo, leaving Yoda to deal with the fall of Dooku. Although they didn't doubt Anakin's ability, his dueling abilities were behind Dooku. Everything was not as they seemed. Whilst Padme and Anakin got secretly married on Naboo, the Jedi Council meet to discuss the death of Dooku and his subsequent successor. The death of Dooku remains a mystery, with only Obi-Wan, Anakin and Senator Amidala present. But with Obi-Wan unconscious at the time, they attempt a form of group meditation to try and recover any memories in the Force. The attempt is not successful, so they recall Anakin and Padme from Naboo. Standing in the centre of the council chamber, Anakin is knighted by the council, before being asked to recall what had happened with Dooku. Recounting the brief duel with Dooku, and what he had seen in Padme's duel, the Jedi Council are still skeptical of Anakin's story. But with rumours circulating of the Kaleesh warrior General Grievous being in command of the droid army, they would have to bypass this issue for now. After the meeting, Obi-Wan goes to Anakin's room, feeling as if his Padawan had been hiding something. However, Anakin remains defiant, and is annoyed at the council for not believing he could defeat Dooku. So far, the plan to make Anakin an apprentice is going well, and spending more time with Anakin after the Battle of Geonosis, Padme begins to teach Anakin to mask his Force presence, as well as other dark side abilities, away from the prying eyes of the Jedi. But then, the Jedi make a move that is unexpected. Wishing to teach Anakin to let go of his attachments, they assign him the Jedi youngling Ahsoka Tano and Christophsis. As Anakin overcame his initial dismay at being given a Padawan learner, he began to teach Ahsoka some elements of Padme's teaching, slowly swaying Ahsoka from the Jedi. Padme was sure that Palpatine would have sensed Anakin and Ahsoka moving away from the Order, and would want it himself. She had to do something about the clones before it was too late. Heading to Kamino by herself, Padme begins to initiate the beginning of the end. Docking by the side of the facility's entrance, the two clones guarding the door look confused. For the Senator of Naboo to be on Kamino was odd to say the least. Allowing her through, Padme places her hood above her head, making her way to the Kaminoan Prime Minister Lama Su. Lama Su immediately recognises Padme and respectfully bowed to the Senator. Walking through the complex, Lama Su guided Padme towards the centre of the facility. Using several bouts of Force persuasion, Padme was able to convince the Kaminoan to alter the contingency orders to her own, effectively mitigating Palpatine's greatest asset. Nonetheless, Padme knew his cunning would stretch beyond mere clones. This was quickly proven true. As soon as Padme began to leave the complex, two sets of doors flew open, revealing lines of Palpatine's Red Guards. Padme's actions have to have triggered their appearance. Using Force speed, she quickly bids farewell to Lama Su, trying to make her way back out, but she found the exit was blocked. But this was no matter for a Force user as powerful as Padme. Focusing her power on the roof, she pulled it towards the ground, levitating in mid-air, before gracefully leaping over through the top and making her exit. The Red Guards rush outside and try to block Padme's ship, but she had already disappeared. Flying towards Coruscant, she received a transmission from a concerned Jedi Council who had worried about her disappearance. Padme waved them off, stating that she had dealt with a personal matter and she will be back soon. Eventually descending through the skies of Coruscant, rather than go back to her apartment, Padme decided to hover by Palpatine's office, observing his behaviour. She could sense his concern and appeared to be speaking to a hologram of General Grievous. Padme could not hide her smugness of being one step ahead of the Sith Lord, and zoomed off to her apartment where she had told Anakin and Ahsoka to wait her arrival. However, Padme soon sensed something was wrong. Ahsoka lay on the floor unconscious, and Anakin was nowhere to be found. Reviving Ahsoka, she coughed and spluttered to meet the face of Padme. Her head was in a daze. What had happened to Anakin? Padme dashed out, and Ahsoka followed suit, force pulling her lightsabers to her hands. Leaping out of the building, Ahsoka's astonished at Padme's speed, despite Anakin telling her of Padme's abilities, as she desperately tried to keep up. Using her blade to cut through Palpatine's window, she saw Anakin by the side of Palpatine, looking conflicted. At the sight of Padme, Anakin stood up and ignited his blade. Palpatine was furious. Anakin was destined to be his apprentice. What Plagueis had said was wrong. Summoning his blades from his cloak and dwarty statues, Palpatine attacked Padme out of anger for changing Anakin's path. Padme ignited her own blade, protecting Ahsoka, whose skills were not up to scratch with those of the other combatants. Soon getting into a rhythm, Padme and Palpatine glided throughout the office, almost as if not wanting to win. Anakin and Ahsoka observed the fight, looking confused. Padme had finally had enough of Palpatine and cornered him by his desk, waiting for Anakin to do something. However, Palpatine thought he had another trick up his sleeve, and created some separation through a force push to execute Order 66. To his surprise, nothing happened, as his commander stood motionless in the hologram. The hologram was suddenly pulled away from his grasp by Padme, whose face was smug once more. Executing Order 66 herself in the face of Palpatine, clones began to swarm the street, and for a moment, Palpatine thought he was in the clear. These hopes were soon dispelled, as a group of clones pointed their blasters in his face. Palpatine sat in shock. How were Anakin and Ahsoka not being attacked? He had always been ahead of the Jedi, but never Padme. Palpatine tries to blast them all out of the room with his patented force-lightning attack, but Anakin blocks him with his blade, before executing Palpatine. Aiming to rush to the Jedi Temple and aid the other clones, their path is blocked by Mace Windu and Saesee Tiin. Padme orders Ahsoka and the clones back to the Jedi Temple, and they oblige by descending down the open window. Sweeping her cloak to one side, she surged towards the Jedi at astonishing speed, equipping one of Palpatine's blades as well as her own. Easily stabbing the overconfident Master Tiin, Padme was finding it difficult to counter Mace Windu's rapad. Windu began to tire, and Padme took over, deploying red force lightning to singe the Jedi Master into oblivion. Heading to the temple, Padme and Anakin assist Ahsoka and the clones, and at last, the temple fell silent except for the smouldering crackles of the temple's foundations. Searching the bodies, they find two are missing. The Jedi Grandmaster Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi had slipped through the net. Like the cowards they were, they had cowered when their precious order needed them the most. Now moving to the Senate building, the podium of Padme loomed over everyone else's, dominating the galaxy's senators. Declaring the galaxy free of the troublesome Jedi and the corrupt Palpatine, everyone rose to a crescendo, confirming Padme's stranglehold over the galaxy. A galaxy that was born from the seeds of the dark side, unlike Palpatine's imitation. After the speech, Padme heads to her new base on Mustafar, capturing the remains of Dooku's alliance. But rather than condemn them to their deaths, a taste of revenge was in order for Anakin. Like the slave he had been on Tatooine, he took great pride and sadistic pleasure in watching the formerly powerful separatists building their new fortress. Standing side by side, Padme and Anakin would rule their new empire as Empress and Emperor, with Ahsoka serving under their tutelage. That is until the Jedi would try to strike again. That is it for What If Padme Was a Sith Lord. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, and if you're new to this channel and my other channel, subscribe for more tips. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.